here.
That was pretty fun.
Plain ketchup.
Yeah. See how many people actually get it.
Yeah.
Gotta admit, though, it was slightly harder to get up this morning after having a Saturday off.
Well, see, I didn't have a Saturday off, so...
Well, yes. Well.
I wasn't that fortunate.
Oh, you know something weird? It looks like we may very well get my mom to fly up here to hang out with Sarah while I'm out of town.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
But here's the funny part. It looks like if it works out, she's only going to be here while I'm not here.
Wow.
Which
That's
is weird.
Funny.
Yeah. She doesn't like being alone very much, so anyway.
Okay, I don't know why, but ever since getting the updates to iOS 8, I cannot keep third-party keyboards on my phone. They crash constantly.
That's unfortunate.
So
now, wait a minute. Which update did you do?
Both of them.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure I'm on 8.2.
Oh, 8.2, huh?
Well, it's 8.0.2. Oh. They came out with 8.0.1, and it bricked a lot of the 6s and 6 pluses.
Right.
And so they said, don't update.
Yeah. Oh, okay. See, I was thinking it was the second update that they came out with that was causing all the problems.
No, they came out with 8.0.1, and then within a couple hours, they pulled that update off.
Yeah.
And then they released one later on that day that was supposed to fix the problems with 8.0.1, and they called it 8.0.2.
I wonder if that's the one I have, because I'm pretty sure I got it somewhat late compared to a lot of people, but that's no good. Oh, no, I haven't. Huh. Interesting. I love the conspiracy theory, though, that whenever they release a new phone, they release, the new OS to go with it. It's really just to screw up the older phone so that you'll want a new phone.
That's why they don't allow it to be installed on some of the older phones. Like my wife's 4 would not have gotten this update, but the 4S would have. But my wife got a 6, so...
Oh. Are you jealous?
Yes.
Did she get the 6 or the 6 Plus?
The 6. Oh, the 6
Plus.
Plus, no
just
way.
Seems ridiculously big.
The 6 Plus is huge.
Yeah.
So here's the story. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I went to her the couple days before the pre-orders were going to start, and I said, the iPhone 6 is coming out. You're due for an upgrade.
Right.
It's a way bigger phone, and I know you already feel like your iPhone 4 is kind of too big. So let me take your upgrade, and and you can have my iPhone 5S, which is only slightly bigger.
Right.
Oh, no. I'm getting the upgrade, she says.
Nice try.
You can wait a year. Well, and so then I'm showing her stuff just to let her know what she's getting. I'm like, this is yours. This is how big the new one's going to be. And she's like, oh, man, that seems really big. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot bigger. And I know you don't like how big yours already is. Uh-huh. Oh, man, I don't know. Well, maybe I'll use it for a few days and see if I like it. And I'll probably just end up swapping with you and have you trade out. She had the phone in her hand for 2 hours and said, oh, I'm keeping this phone.
I'm sorry for you, but that's still pretty funny.
My wife, ladies and gentlemen, knows how to screw me over.
Yes.
Gotta love her. All right, so I just posted on the Facebook
On the Facebook?
that we're going to get started soon.
Okie dokie.
I think being off last week cost us our audience.
Could be.
Really, we're here. I feel like a Whoville. We are here, we are here, we are here! All right. Yep, it's just us.
Okay.
Looks like we're on our own today. I got a review from Tom, so that's good.
No, who's it for?
FL-BTS.
Must be a Canadian band.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to listen to it.
And a hard place. New music. Flyleaf, Between the Stars.
Oh.
Not a Canadian band. I still haven't listened to that album yet.
I listened to a little bit of it, and what I heard I liked.
Yeah.
But I haven't got a chance to. Man, we've just been like inundated with kind of important stuff lately. I haven't
Yeah.
listened to any of the new U2 yet either.
I haven't either, and it's supposedly sitting in my inbox somewhere.
Right. Yeah, it's just in your purchased.
Yeah. Well, some people, my father-in-law actually had it auto-download to his phone because that's the default is that it'll automatically add the music.
Right.
I have that turned off on my stuff because I'm so conscious about my data and
Right,
how much
yeah.
storage and all of that kind of stuff. You know, that I don't have that turned on. So,
Right.
all right. Well, I guess we should. Whoa, I should mute you first of all. I had my laptop speakers on.
Oopsie daisy.
Yeah. Oh darn.
Oh,
Okay.
darn.
So I guess we should probably get started. It's 9:15, and Sarah's got a list of honeydews for the kitchen. We're redoing our kitchen today, apparently.
Oh, fun. By the way, just an FYI, I'm using the other pair of Tweaked
Oh.
today.
And
I like them. They're not even like the last generation of iPhone headphones, though. They're like they're somewhere. It's like they picked a variation somewhere between like the original iPhone headphones and the ones that came slightly after that.
gotcha.
They sound good, and they're not nearly as uncomfortable as I would assume they would have been just looking at them.
Mm-hmm.
I still prefer the Bud ones, but
Yeah, the in-ears.
yeah.
Okay.
So I've been using those a lot. I got a little bit of paint on them, though, because I was wearing them while I was at work, and I had to paint a trailer, but it's latex paint, so it'll just peel off eventually.
So I just noticed this. I have a pending contact request from Bluebird Sky BB 3227.
Okay.
It's like, last activity was a month ago. Huh. Yeah, I don't think I'll be adding them.
Yeah.
End up with some private webcam message or something like that
Mm-hmm.
gonna get me in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so are we, I guess we're about ready?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I should be all good.
Okay, you sounded very weird there for a second. It's like you were doing a long wee and then and Skype
Yeah, I was
decided
like,
to
yeah.
Skype decided to freak out at the same time, so it was kind of a wee.
Nice.
Yes, lovely. All right, let's go ahead and hit record in 3, 2, 1. This episode of the Rock and a Hard Place podcast brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Check them out at tweakedaudio.com and use the code HARDPLACE when you check out for 33% off. tweakedaudio.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Rock and a Hard Place podcast. My name is Chris Cooner. I am a DJ with Broken FM. Check us out online at broken.fm. back in the saddle again after a week hiatus just due to scheduling conflicts and all of that fun, real life type stuff. Joining me today, my good friend. Thankfully, I was able to drag him back. His name is Paul Gibson.
Good morning, everybody. Man, it's stinking early, but hey, that's all right because no one's in the chat room, so we can be as goofy and look as bad as we want to.
Actually, Tom finally popped in, so he's here today. So good on you.
Being late.
Yeah, exactly. What's wrong with you, fella?
I tell you, we'll forgive you just this once, Tom.
Maybe we might.
Yeah. We'll see how things go.
So I was gone last week. I had an event. I am on the board of directors for a camp up in a place called Potter Valley, which is up north of Ukiah. And unfortunately, the first part of the name is accurate for the area. Potter Valley.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of growing going on up there.
Okay.
But there's a nice little Bible camp situated in the heart of Potter Valley up on a mountain, and
of course there is.
Well, of course, we were there. We were there first.
Right.
The growers came later. So the camp's been there since 1967. So it's been around for a while. But we had a big open house. We're changing. We have a changeover of directors. Our last director's been there for 10 years. And he and his wife have decided it's time to retire and to move on to do different things. So we were doing a big send-off for them and a thank you, as well as kind of a party celebration to welcome the new folks, plus a big thank you to all the people that have donated time and money and stuff like that. So it was kind of an all-day thing. I had to leave here at 7 in the morning to get up there by 9, and the event started at 10 and then didn't end until like 4. So it was a very long day because it's an hour and a half drive there and then to do everything all day and then have to drive home. It was a very exhausting day. But I love going up there. It's beautiful. There's, pine trees all over, just huge trees all over the place, and fir trees tall as it's like 150, 200-foot tall trees and stuff like that. So it's beautiful and a lot of fun to hang out up there. So that was why I wasn't here. So I threw the reins over to Paul and said, hey, get a co-host, keep going. And then Paul said, yeah, I can't do that because somebody's busy and I now have a funeral to go to.
Yeah. Yeah, it all went downhill very quickly. Yeah. Tom, I originally had asked, and he was given instructions that would not work from a third party. And I won't get him in trouble by saying who that third party was. And FYI, Tom, I totally understand. So it's okay. No one's upset with you.
Yes.
I hate you for entirely different reasons.
Right.
Just kidding, Tom. I love you. You're the one.
Oh, man. Too much fun. Too much fun. So we are back, and we have a little bit of catching up to do. So
yes.
we're gonna do some news stuff. That's gonna be the main thing that we're gonna focus on, kind of our thoughts and opinions. The one big thing that we were not on for the ability to talk about was the big U2 scandal, debacle. I don't know what you want to call it, but everybody's ticked off that they're given free music.
Right.
And since there are a lot of folks out there who consider U2 a Christian band, I figure, well, let's go ahead and talk about this whole thing.
Right. And I know that a lot of people have been talking about this, and I think one of them, I'm going to butcher this because I don't remember the exact wording. Plus, the exact wording I couldn't actually say on this podcast, nor would I necessarily want to, but it was some tweet went out from somebody who's kind of a funny person, and he's like, yeah, the evolution of music. It originally was, here's $20, I give you 10 songs. Okay, here's $10. I give you 10 songs. $5, sure. Okay, fine. Pay whatever you want. Okay, it's free now. Do you want it?
Yeah.
Here, take it. Take it.
I mean, and that's very true. Now, I guess the big story here isn't necessarily that U2 is the ones at fault here. People are blaming U2, but I don't see that the fault lies with them. I see the issue being an Apple issue. And basically what it boils down to is Apple was wanting to give everyone this album
Right.
But instead of allowing you to go somewhere and punch in a code and download it, they opted to just flip a switch and allow it to be downloaded to your account without you requesting it.
Right.
So it's like Apple reaching into your phone and dropping something off and then reaching back out again. And I think that's where most people have their major issues, is in that regard.
Right.
Supposedly, there's no back doors or anything along those lines, but I mean, technically, this isn't even really a back door. It's a matter of you sign up for a service,
Right.
you've checked the box on your particular device that allows for songs that you purchase to be automatically download.
Right.
Tom says, I saw the keynote. They didn't flip a switch. They touched fingers. Yes. It was a very awkward delivery between Bono and Tim Cook. It seemed very, I don't know. Tim Cook looked like he was a giddy little schoolboy while he was standing on stage with Bono talking about this whole what was going to happen. And it just, I don't know, it was very forced and not very natural. I've seen tons of Apple keynotes in the past with Steve Jobs and others, and they're just normally so smooth, you know.
Right.
I mean, they have their issues, of course. So sometimes products don't work. I remember this one keynote I was watching, and Steve had this device on hand, and he kept trying to turn it on, and it wouldn't turn on. And I guess he had some of the engineers down in the front row. It was like a camera or something like that. He couldn't get it to work, and he actually threw it at the guys in the front row. And he's like, okay, we're moving on to something else. And he completely glossed over that whole portion of the keynote because he couldn't get the device to function properly. So normally they're much more smooth, much more, I don't know, refined than it seemed that this portion was. I'm sure it probably wasn't very well rehearsed, so neither one was really prepped for what was going on, which is un-Apple-like. But I guess my big thing is, why are people upset about free music? And I guess it's not the free music they're upset about, it's the way that it was delivered. Does that sound...
Yeah, it does. And it's funny because I had a very different experience than everybody else with this, because I heard, oh, there's a free U2 album. So I went on to iTunes on my phone, went to the page for the album, and it said, oh, you've already purchased this. I'm like, okay, that's great. It's not on my phone. And then I started doing research. They're like, oh, it'll be in your purchase section of your iTunes on your phone. So I went there. Not there. And I'm like, okay. And every time I would go to the back to the album page, it was like the button would change before my very eyes. It would load up and it would be like, grab for free. And then it would switch, like as soon as the page finished loading, it would switch to purchased. And I'm like, that's great. I want to listen to it, and I can't seem to get it. And everybody else seems to be mad that they got it, and I want it. Come on, give it to me, give it to me.
Please give me the album. Please give me the album.
And it's funny because that frustration actually kind of burnt me on it a little bit. By the time it was all said and done, I still haven't listened to it. Now I finally have it, and it finally came through. But for whatever reason, I was on like the, I guess in the trickle down, I was towards the bottom. So anyway, I still haven't listened to it yet. I think that on one hand, yeah, if they had just said, there's a new U2 album, you can go grab it, there's just no charge for it, and you click the button, I think there would have still probably been hundreds of thousands of people who would have actually wanted it, who wouldn't have ended up with it because they wouldn't have gotten the message somehow, or they would have gotten confused along the way, whatever.
Totally.
But on the other hand, it's funny because you have all these other people who are like... all of a sudden, U2 is what's wrong with music.
Right.
And that cracks me up. It's like, okay, really? U2 is what's wrong with music? And then, of course, if you're involved in things like the 90s Christian Music Recovery Group, where they blame U2 for the entire CCM sound of everything that isn't hardcore, it's quite hilarious because that just was like the subject of every discussion. All of a sudden, it's like, man, the new U2 album's terrible. And they forced it upon me. What's going on with the world? And I'm like,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a couple other sides to this that we need to explore to a degree as well. Okay. Number one, charting is affected by sales.
Right.
Okay. So if it's affected by sales, then does them giving it to every single person who has an iTunes account automatically guarantee them a number one album for sales.
I don't think so, because it dropped the same day that, if I'm not incorrect, I believe it dropped the same day as Anomaly by Lecrae, and it was the number 1 album.
Okay.
So I don't think so. I think people would see through that, and because there's no actual choice in the album, it's kind of hard to claim that we this soul. I mean, because you can say that, if you give an album away with something else,
right,
that's okay, because
right.
that was one of the big smart moves that Prince did during his later years, was even though he wasn't a big deal like he was in the 90s anymore, or the 80s, he would include an album in a ticket sale.
Right.
So, if, say, 50,000 people went to go see him in concert, 50,000 albums got sold that day. It didn't matter whether or not they already had it or not. It was just, thank you, tear the ticket, here's a CD. Tear the ticket, here's a CD. And so that's a loophole that you can, I think, exploit. But as far as just forcing it onto people, I think that was probably where the line was drawn, and I don't think U2 really wanted that.
No, I don't think so. The other things that I've heard is that the only way U2 could have gotten as many album sales on this is by giving it away, because U2 has passed their prime and they are no longer considered a relevant band.
I think that to a large group of people that's true, but I think to the people who have been U2 fans, I don't think anything's really changed.
Right.
I think most of the people who are saying that are people who are mid-20s and younger, who are like, U2, that's some weird double-digit band that I have no clue who that is, and my dad listens to them, and they don't sound like dubstep,
right.
And they don't rap, and that's about it. So yeah, I mean, do they have the immense cultural relevance that they did 20 years ago? No. But still, would they have sold a crap load of albums had they not given it away? Yeah. They would have done quite well. I mean, they might not have been number 1, but they would have been top 10 without any problem whatsoever.
Yeah. So Tom said that he had the same experience as you, but when he finally got it, he listened to it in the background, so he hasn't really gone back to it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't fully understand the outrage, but he does know people that would die for U2.
Right. Yeah, I mean, U2 has a very faithful following that are the people who like it. I think what has really changed is that there's a new group of people who have been introduced on this planet who have never known U2 to be a big deal.
Right.
And also you have the withering of the casual fan, because I can guarantee you that during their heyday, there were a lot of people who were either gifted U2 albums from a friend, or they just bought it because they wanted new music, and U2, a lot of people seem to like them, I'll give it a spin. That isn't going to happen as much anymore.
Right. Yeah, I think that the tastes have changed. Culture has changed a little bit as far as music stylings, and I mean, U2 will be a band that, if they're not already, I'm sure that they're probably going to make it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
As a first ballot inductee, I don't have doubts about that. I mean, personally, I have never really understood the hullabaloo around U2. I mean, there's a few songs of theirs that I find okay and that I can listen to and I know the lyrics to. But I am not one of the ones that is like die hard, gotta go out. I mean, this album's free, and I still haven't listened to it yet. And I don't know if I will take the time to listen to it, but that's just because of where I am on the U2 fandom spectrum. I'm down here, and there's many other bands that are up here that I'd rather listen to.
Yeah, and I think also just because of music culture being where it is, I think there is a certain level that people actually care slightly less about albums that they don't have to pay for. Right. And that's just me, because, I mean, we get free albums all the time. Like, I mean, you and I both have the new Flyleaf record. Neither one of us have gotten a chance to listen to it all the way through. Like, I think I've listened to the single 2 or 3 times, and I've listened to 1 or 2 of the other songs, and then I got to move on to something else. And it's not because I have this other album that I'm just itching to listen to. It's because I'm so stinking busy and inundated with music that, a lot of times by the time I end up sitting down or I'm driving around and I want music to just jam to, I don't want to have to think about it too much. So it'll be something that I know fairly well or is fairly simple.
No, if I want to check out an album, I pull out my Ultimate Ears and pop them in, and I lay down on the couch and I plug the album in and I sit and do nothing for the half hour to 45 minutes, but listen to that album. You know,
Right.
if I want to dive deep into it, if I just put it on in the background, I'm not focusing on it enough. It's gonna be like Tom listening to this album. It's on in the background. It's there. It's noise. There may
Right.
be little snippets that will pop out, and I'll kind of go, oh, that was kind of cool. But
Yeah.
I mean, we listen to music so differently than the general public does typically, just
Yeah.
because of what we do.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, Tom says U2 was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2005. So there you go. All you U2 fans, I apologize, but I told you that they would make it.
Yeah.
So just after the fact. I did make the caveat that if they haven't been already.
Right. This is true.
I did make that caveat. So, I don't, even some of my favorite bands, I have no idea whether or not they're Hall of Fame bands. So, it's not just a slight on U2. It's just I don't follow the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that much. But it doesn't surprise me that they're in there because they're huge, or at least
Right.
they were at one time.
Yeah, and I mean they're also one of those bands who have been consistent. I mean they've never broken up.
Right.
I mean I know that they've had some spats within the band before, but I mean they've never broken up. They've never taken like a really lengthy hiatus. They've continued to evolve. I mean they still sound like U2, but they all their albums from if you go and listen to the early stuff to now, it's a good bit different.
Yeah.
But they've never said this is our last tour ever. At least to my knowledge, I mean, they've been one of those bands that has been a mainstay of rock and roll for, I think, like going on 3 decades now.
Yeah, totally. All right, well, it's that time, Paul. Hang on.
All right.
Another one bites the dust, and another one gone, and another one gone. Another one bites the dust. Hey, I'm gonna get you too. Another one bites the dust.
So yes, another band has called it quits, and this time Paul and I are exceedingly sad to have to break this news. 11D7 has decided that it is time for them to move on to other projects.
Which is sad because they're one of those bands that I think had, I don't know if it's bad luck or maybe they were just a little too out there or what, but it feels like they were right on the cusp of everything that was big, right either just before or right as it was getting big, but they always seemed to somehow get overlooked for what they were doing.
Yeah.
Which is sad because I mean, that sometimes that happens, and that's a good part about why the music industry can be such a heartbreak, because so much of it is either divine intervention or luck. It depends on how you look at it. But
Totally. No,
it's just sad.
It is. Tom says, "Oh no, Paul, are you going to be okay? Isn't that one of your favorites?"
And it's funny because I enjoy them and I like them, and they're not one of the bands that typically just comes up for me a lot. But I have this weird emotional attachment to them because they've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
I've never disliked anything that they've done. And at the beginning they were just another pop punk band. I mean, their first album, In the Land of Fake Belief, the MySpace song, I mean, it was pretty par for the course, but since then they did a lot of experimenting, a lot with electronics. They had that mountain folk album, which was really good but weird.
Yeah.
And they've done covers that were always good. Their songwriting continued to get better and better. Matt Langston is a friggin' maniac and a joy to interview.
Yes. Well, not only is he a joy to interview, but you really don't know how much of the album and band you're going to be able to discuss while you're interviewing him, because he is literally all over the place. I mean, if you want to see a test case for what ADD is like, interview Matt Langston. And I mean that with all the respect in the world. I love the guy, and he is a blast. But you don't know what is going to come out of his mouth.
No. One of my favorite lines from him from an interview was, "What? We can make fun of Asian people? Man, I'm all over that." He's like, I thought that was off limits for some reason.
Oh my goodness. No, he is a riot. He's a lot of fun. He is the kind of guy that I would love to just hang out with.
Right.
Just be friends with and hang out, and just, I imagine he and I sitting in the back, just cutting up during class, and causing all sorts of trouble and mayhem in that regard. So it's now he's still working on his Jelly Rocks project.
Right.
That is still moving forward, and he's had another thing going on with Reese Roper.
Yeah, Pool Party Death Machine.
So that's still an interesting idea that I haven't really heard much of what they've done.
They really haven't done anything. I mean, there's several song clips that are on like a web page that's kind of buried that you have to find. But I mean, and it sounds cool. It sounds like it would be kind of a moody 80s kind of almost industrial rock, but not real heavy, but just kind of moody.
Yeah,
and it sounds like it'd be really good, but I think the problem was it was something that everyone anticipated would work, but then Five Iron came back, did a Kickstarter, and all of a sudden all of Reese's free time is taken, and so Matt was like, well, I guess that's backburnered for a while.
Yeah, it's one of those it's one of those things that we'll have to see if anything happens with it. But I know Five Iron's been really busy doing a lot of tours and stuff. And I don't know. Reese and Matt together just sounds like an interesting combo because they're kind of like two peas in a pod. So it can be either really good or so far out there that nobody gets it.
Right. But, and also, vocally, they're completely different.
Yes, absolutely.
So that would be interesting in and of itself. And then, of course, Matt also has a project that he recently finally did a concert with the other half of this, and I don't remember his name. He's actually like a news anchor or something somewhere, which is just hecka weird. But anyway, it's called Best Friend Fight, and I think we've shared a song clip from that at some point. And if you want an interesting, weird visual treat, and you want to know how in the world a music video got made from a band that has 2 songs but yet is really good, check out the Walking Dead Apocalypse music video by Best Friend Fight. It is hilarious, and ironically enough, happened before the huge zombie craze that is now. See, I'm telling you, they're always a little bit ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
And somebody else gets the credit every time. So I feel for Matt. I don't know. It always feels like he's doing something before everyone else is, and then like something else, gets popular, and he's like, "Man, I was there. What?" So
he's just got to time it better. That's all. Instead of being ahead, he's got to be on it.
Yeah.
So, Kirk's joined the chat, and then he was asking what he missed, and so Tom's been filling him in about the U2 album talk. So we're going to go back for just a second. Kirk said he really liked the new album, and he said that he didn't feel like it was forced. Just don't download it. But that's the whole point, is people didn't have to download it. It just downloaded on its own. And that's where people felt like it was forced on them, is, whether you were going to buy it or not as immaterial, you just went to your thing and it was already purchased, and in some cases downloaded to your phone because that's how they had their phone set up.
Right.
So that's where, just filling Kirk in on what's going on.
Right.
What else? There's a ton of new stuff. Lecrae, his album debuts at #1. Is that what you said, Paul?
Yeah, on the overall Billboard Top 200 album charts. I mean, this is the first for him. I think everyone thought that Gravity was going to do it, and I think it debuted at like #2 or #3.
Nice.
And there's only a handful of times this has ever happened in the Christian market. I think maybe twice or 3 times total.
Fantastic.
I don't even know. I don't even remember if Toby Mac pulled that off on his last one.
Oh, wow.
This is just a huge, huge feat. And then this week, he's still in the top 10. He's still #8 this week.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So, it's not that uncommon to have an album. Like, if it's somebody like Lecrae that has a lot of buzz, but isn't as established mainstream as other people, it's not that uncommon for a buzz artist like Lecrae to open like really, really strong and then instantly be like number 95 next week.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it'll be a lot of surge because all the fan base goes and buys it at once. But it's cool that it's showing some staying power, and I think that it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, the industry takes a note on that.
Well, and now he was on, was it Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah.
That he got...
I still haven't got a chance to watch that, but yeah, he sat in with the Roots, and I got the impression did a lot of kind of the go-between music for the show. I don't know if he did like a typical music performance as well. I'm gonna have to check that out. Which
Yeah,
makes
no,
me sad 'cause I was watching some Fallon clips yesterday at work, and I totally didn't even think about that at the moment. Look kind of stupid now. But
Yeah, exactly. Well, good on Lecrae. I know he's getting his single "Nuttin" is getting a lot of play even on Christian rock radio.
Yeah. And there's a remix that just got dropped for that.
Right. Kirk says that yes, The Last Toby did hit number one, but did it hit number one on the iTunes Top 200? That would be the question. Was it just the Christian number one, or was it the iTunes Top? The iTunes.
Well,
Top
yeah.
200?
Well, this was Billboard, so it included physical and iTunes
and everything.
And Amazon and all
okay.
that.
So it was Billboard number one.
Oh yeah, it was Billboard number one. I think it did hit the iTunes number one as well, but it was overall. It was. I think they said this was the very first album to ever go simultaneously number one in gospel and overall.
Gotcha. Tom says that it was cool. Lecrae was an honorary root.
There you go.
So
all about that, and also as part of that, with him getting number one, he dropped a single that I think is not part of Anomaly that you can go to rapzilla.com and grab for free. It's called Nonfiction, and of course, as one does on an audio podcast, I grabbed a clip. So here, enjoy some free, tasty Lecrae goodness.
Bro, like you ain't Lil Wayne, you a lame, man, I gotta go. But I did it, and I was on a mission, and little by little, a couple of them would get it. Was rapping in the hood, and folks broke down crying. That's when I knew this was bigger than me and bigger than rhyme. Your fact, it's not fiction. You wanna hear the truth? Pay attention. And if I never got a mention, still do it for the love and the mission. Yeah. My interpretation. Non-fiction.
There you go, Nonfiction from Lecrae. You can catch it on rapzilla.com.
Excellent. Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah, I like it. And I still haven't heard the full Anomaly record, but None is just a kicking track. And it's one of those few that, I enjoyed the remix. Matthew Parker did a remix. Of course, he was on the Christian Rock 20, I guess, last week. And he's kind of an EDM artist. Just got signed to Dream Records. And he did a remix of it. And the remix is solid. I still think I like the original better just because the original has such a unique flair to it to me. But if you're a remix kind of person, then you can check out Matthew Parker's SoundCloud account and you can grab that track for free.
Awesome. Good news. He and Andy Mineo, I think, are destined for great things, crossing the lines between the mainstream and the Christian market. And I feel like they're doing it in the right way. It's not a matter of selling out. It's a matter of, hey, I'm putting out really good stuff and it's being noticed by people outside of my little circle of influence or sphere of influence. And I think that that's important. It's nice to see it happening, and I'm sorry for all the people that are going to be dogging on Lecrae because of his acceptance by the mainstream media.
Right. Which is interesting because I think he is getting some acceptance, but at the same time, he was asked this in an interview that I was watching with a fairly big kind of like urban morning show. And they asked, hey, it's like, you've been able to sell all these albums. You're, quite possibly the biggest selling, Christian urban artist ever, probably without question. But you're still not getting play on, or at least regular play. They're like, we're going to play one of your songs here in a minute, but ultimately you're not getting regular rotation on mainstream hip hop and rap stations. Does that annoy you? And he goes, well, it used to, but at the same time, what am I supposed to do about that?
Right.
And, he goes, I hope that one day they play it, but at the same time, I can't force them to do it. And I don't know why they're not. I don't feel like I'm being overtly preachy in a way that's offensive to people, but at the same time, I'm just, and he continually says, I'm just trying to be me. It goes, my faith is part of my life, and that's the reason why it's in my music. It's not because I'm trying to tell you you're wrong or you're going to hell. It's like, this is just who I am, and I'm going to talk about it because this is so much a part of me.
Right.
And I thought that was a good way to handle it. And they baited him so many times in that interview to say something bad, and he breezed on through it. It was pretty cool to watch. I was like, where'd you go?
Well, when you're confident about why you're doing what you're doing, it's easy to detect, I think, those potentially problematic questions and get an answer around it in such a way that is going to be a nice way to diffuse the situation without giving them quote bait.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Kirk poses an interesting question, and he says, do you guys think the decline of music sales overall is helping Christian albums to reach the Billboard Top 200?
Yeah, probably so. If you want to know the truth. I mean, it's not. I don't think that's a dog on Christian music. I think in a lot of ways it's a prop to Christians who consume music, because I think that inherently, or at least I hope so, that more Christians are willing to plop down $10, $15 for a record rather than just going and stealing it because they don't care.
Right.
And I think that has a lot to do with it. And this also, I hope this doesn't come across as either racially or socially, judgmental in any way, but it seemed like this was kind of easy to see for me looking at the album charts from, say, like 8-9 years ago. Well, probably less. Yeah, well, I guess probably about that. When I was working in Top 40 Radio and I was paying real close attention to what the album sales charts were going to be, to me it felt like the album sales charts were very reflective of people who knew technology and people who didn't. I mean, this was when smartphones were just starting to be a thing. You didn't really buy music on your phone. Either you bought it on CD, or maybe if you were just really upfront, you buy it on iTunes. But I don't even think at that point Amazon, being able to buy digitally on Amazon, even existed. So it was either iTunes, you stole it, or you bought it on CD.
Gotcha.
And it felt like there were albums that were inherently a big deal that were doing really well, but weren't topping out the album charts. But yet there were country albums that I knew were a big deal, but didn't seem to be as big of a deal, that were hitting number one. And to me, it felt like, a lot of the people who were like really into country hadn't quite figured out how to either steal it yet or do it other ways. And it felt like all the younger audience who were really into file sharing and were really up on computer stuff had figured out how to do this. And I think the same thing is kind of turned in, not that Christians don't know how to steal music, but I think they haven't investigated it as much. And they're really wanting to support, either the ministry or, the artists themselves, or just be honest by paying for it. And I think that that's something that's a good testament to the Christian music listener. And, I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if more and more people start throwing in their hat with the Christian music industry, just because they know that people will be, for right or wrong reasons, going to pay for the album rather than just stealing it like a good chunk of the world does right now.
Yeah. So my favorite mouth breather weighed in on this Lecrae at number one. KJ52, thanks to Tom for the link to this, actually. He says, at Lecrae number one at Billboard should speak to two things in the music industry. Or should speak two things to the music industry. One, mainstream equals not all of us want negativity in hip-hop Christian. Or in hip-hop, and then Christian, not all of us want CCM music.
Right, yeah.
For the most part, the genre got ignored for years by both. Now, both industries are scratching their heads on how it happened. In the meantime, we were over here doing what we've always done. Congrats and thanks to Lecrae and Reach Records, and most importantly, God, for doing what many thought couldn't happen.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, you think back to when we were kids and listening to people like Michael Peace and Stephen Wiley and, SFC and DOC and, all these other groups. Did you ever think that there was any chance whatsoever that a Christian rap artist would hit number one on an albums chart?
Did I think there was a chance? Yes. Did I think it would happen in my lifetime? No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've always, of late, Christian music has, for me at least, has the quality and consistency and all of that has gotten so much better in the last few years than it had been years before. And I think the funny part about that is that a lot of Christian artists are actually going to mainstream non-believing producers to produce their art.
Right.
And so it's becoming this thing to where there's this blending line in the industry of where it doesn't really matter what side you kind of fit on.
Right.
If you're willing to pay the money for the mainstream record producer and mainstream mixer, or audio engineer, whatever you want to phrase that, to me, it's like it's going to push your art to a whole nother level.
Yeah. 'Tis true. And it's funny because I remember the big the big scandal of when that first started happening, people were like, "Oh, well, what do you think this is? There's going to be something in there that's bad because you had a non-Christian involved." To which my thought on it is like, well, why don't you look at it a different way? I imagine mainstream producers see, everything imaginable in a studio while it's happening. I imagine that, especially the bands who are rich enough to not care that they're wasting studio albums. I'm sure there's drug use. I'm sure there's sex. I'm sure there's just about anything that you can think of happening in and around a producer while they're in studio. And, if you are a band who is not only saying that they're a Christian band, but is truly a Christian band, and that you handle yourself well in studio, to me, that's just as much of a witnessing opportunity as preaching from stage. There are gonna be people who are gonna notice there's something different about you. Whether or not they care or not, that's up to God. I don't know. There's just no way of knowing. But it's like, why is it that people think that you can't be a witness at work? And it's the same thing for the rest of us. I mean, it doesn't matter what our job is, as long as you're being who you say you are.
Yeah,
that's going to make a difference. And for bands, a lot of times, I think that can be in the studio with a big name producer. It's like, well, they've seen it all. They're going to notice that you're different.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's just my thought.
Good deal. All right. What? You know what? Let's hold off on any more news.
Sure.
Let's take a quick break.
All right.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
And a hot place. New music. Flyleaf, Between the Stars.
I'm reaching for you. Set me on fire. Set me on fire. I'm burning inside. I'm waiting for you. Set me on fire. Set me on fire.
Hey, you ever order food at a restaurant and when you ask for a Coke, the server says, "Is Pepsi okay?" You think for a couple seconds and reply with, "Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's brown, it's fizzy, you'll survive." Yeah, me too. It's impossible to talk about the new Flyleaf record without first addressing the former lead singer, Lacey Sturm. It's likely you know, but I'll catch you up to speed regardless. For 10 years, the petite female sang like a bird and growled like a bear for 3 solid albums. The third album, New Horizons in 2012, was overshadowed by the news that she was resigning from the band for then unknown reasons. 2 years later, we learned that she desired to be more of a present mother, among other things. Shortly after Lacey stepped down, however, Flyleaf recruited their new powerhouse vocalist, Kristen May. Different from Lacey in many ways, but powerhouse nonetheless. She's the former lead vocalist for the now defunct band Videra. If you YouTube Videra's song Satisfy, you may recognize them, you may not. But if you didn't know who Kristen May was before, you sure do now. When Flyleaf released their EP Who We Are in the summer of 2013, many were intrigued with the new singer, but a little skeptical of the more popular rock sound of the only new track on the EP, Something Better, featuring Sonny from POD. And now, in the late summer of 2014, the first full-length album with the new lineup, Between the Stars, comes to us by way of Loud and Proud Records. Produced by Don Gilmore, Between the Stars is full of belted melodies and ear-friendly hooks. It has quite a bit to offer a lot of people, but I'm not sure how many of those people are longtime Flyleaf fans. Though it does sound similar to New Horizons in a few ways, this record is a definite new chapter for Flyleaf in more than just vocals, and begs the obvious question, is this, quote, Flyleaf, or is this a new band altogether that deserves a new name and identity? Now, it's easy to understand why the Flyleaf brand continues. It gives them immediate recognition and a decade's worth of music catalog to play at their shows, etc. But back to the matter at hand. This is an album review, not a treatise on band dynamics. The first single released to us is also the first track on the album. Set Me On Fire is a good way to start since it brings a ton of energy right away. The brooding melody of the verses right on top a really cool distorted bass line that's later backed up by some thick guitars. As well as giving us a memorable chorus, this song shows us that Kristen May can hang. She's not a fluke, she belongs. She's got pipes that wail and can stand up with any of the other female rock vocalists today. Track 3, Traitor, reminds me the most of the old Flyleaf regime. From the choices in vocal melody to the chords and the riffs, it has a vintage feel that will hopefully soothe longtime fans. Again, May's voice is excellent, and the way she holds long notes is awe-inspiring for any singer. The rest of the album, if I'm honest, and if the listener isn't paying close enough attention, can blur together a bit. It's not bad, it just doesn't pop. Track 6, Sober Serenade, is probably the best of the rest. Featuring a moving chorus that follows a pop rock formula to a T, this song is a bit of an intervention to someone struggling with addiction and poisonous life choices. A bit of tough love, if you will. The latest single, Marionette, is okay. Again, polished pop rock with generic and singable lyrics. Well done, but won't be on anyone's 2010s mixtape in 10 years. Oh, and in case you're wondering, May does scream a bit in the song City Kids, but I almost didn't mention it because it's kind of awkward. Back to one of the points I alluded to earlier. If this record had been offered to us under a new moniker, a different name, I think I and others would receive it with a bit more acceptance. Again, the album's not bad, it's just not Flyleaf, it's Pepsi instead of Coke. I give Between the Stars by Flyleaf 2.5 rocks out of 5. For the Rockin' a Hard Place podcast, I'm Tom Labonte.
Tom Labonte is the host of The Edge on UCB Canada, and you can find him at ucbcanada.com and rockfortherock.net. And honestly, Tom, I feel that way when I ask for a Pepsi and I get a Coke.
Well, you're wrong. But that's okay. I won't
So, there you have it. And Paul, you're no longer allowed to stay at my house. Want to take a quick break and talk to you about our sponsor, Tweaked Audio. We have been sponsored by them for a few weeks now, and we've actually gotten a little bit of money from them. So to those of you that have taken the time to actually go and buy a pair of headphones, we are grateful. I know our very own Captain Kirk was one who bought a pair of the Naturals. And what I need, Kirk, is I need you to write a review or to do an audio review so that we can play a little clip of what you think of your headphones now that you've had them for a little while. But to give you some more information, tweakedaudio.com, 7 different styles, 7 different colors. You can get them with a mic, you can get them without a mic. They have the in-ears for the noise reduction. They'll work with anything that takes a standard 1/8-inch headphone jack. Free shipping, lifetime warranty. And if you use the code HARDPLACE, all one word, you get 33% off on your shipping.
And a little bit of that money goes to us, which is a big plus.
That's right. So
and I'm wearing a pair of theirs right now. I only have one ear in because I have to listen to the other ear on this because I'm using 2 pairs of headphones as I do every week because I'm technologically savvy like that. But these, I'm not as impressed with these as I was with the last pair, but they do sound really good. If you're looking at the stream, you'll probably notice that they look fairly reminiscent of kind of some of the past iPhone style headphones, but they do have the flat cord.
I mean, that earbud style has been around for years, though, not just the
Right.
iPhone. It's like when you went in to buy a pair of Maxell headphones or something, it was that. I mean,
Right.
I think my original Game Boy came with a black pair of those headphones.
Right. But I don't know. To me, I
Style-wise.
think of them. Yeah, I think of them as being like that. I'm not saying that they ripped it off or anything.
Totally.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. They are. They have been around. I think iPhones are the first ones that actually made it popular. I think for a lot of times they were the ones that were just like, oh, they were just like enormously crappy just because they usually were made very cheaply and they were just kind of like, oh, here's something that you can hear it on. But I like these because they have a flat core. They don't get tangled. It's interesting though because the plug itself is kind of like this. It's chrome. And I thought that was interesting and kind of a nice touch. But anyway, they sound really good. They're not as comfortable to me as the in-ear ones that I had. That were the red ones that you can watch a video review of on our Facebook page. But but the mic still sounds good. The quality of the actual speakers is quite nice. And they're more comfortable than I would have thought they would have been. If this is not your style of earphone, don't get them.
Right.
But if this is the kind of style that you tend to lean towards, then go for it.
Absolutely.
They're not bad at all.
So be sure to check them out. Tweakedaudio.com. Once again, if you use the promo code HARDPLACE, all one word, you will get 33% off. And I mean, the lifetime warranty and the free shipping is also, I think, a good bonus. A good bonus.
It's a perk.
So Kirk's asking me if the new Heath McNeese is my noise trade pick, and I don't do noise trade picks. That's Paul's department.
Yeah,
So I'm a little confused. So we'll have to wait till Paul's noise trade picks and see what's going on. What else did you want to chat about today, Paul? You got some other newsy things?
Yeah, a bunch of things to hit quickly. I don't think many of these will require a whole lot of discussion, but Demon Hunter is
Well, that's never stopped us before.
Right, this is true, but we're gonna we'll try at least. We'll make some semblance of an effort. At least we'll say we will.
All right.
This one kind of makes me mad. Demon Hunter's doing a West Coast tour. Yay! Are they going to be in Portland while I'm in town? No. And
But they are coming to Portland.
But they are coming to Portland.
Okay, so be happy. They're coming to Portland.
I'm happy for all my other Portlanders who will get to see Demon Hunter and Islander, who is like my new favorite band, and I hate you guys all at the same time. I hope you have ear damage. I'm just kidding. Anyway, but they're doing Washington, Oregon, Nevada, California, and Arizona right now. Evidently, there are some more dates in the works, but they'll be touring as of now, at least from October 19th through the 25th. So if you're in those areas, well then, you're lucky. Anyway, okay. So other than that, Humble Beast is going to release 2 more albums this year, which is kind of cool. One of them I'm not familiar with. Jackie Hill Perry. He's going to be releasing an album called The Art of Joy. I don't know Jackie Hill Perry, so I'll be interested to find out what he sounds like. But I do know Eshon Burgundy, and I'll be curious to hear his new album, The Fear of God. So that sounds pretty cool.
Cool.
Project 86. So excited about Knives to the Future. Everything. It's like my favorite album cover they've done thus far. The sound clips sound good. They released the track listing, 15 tracks. Now, in the past, if you're familiar with Project 86 and albums like Truthless Heroes, you know that a lot of times if there's a ton of tracks, that usually means they have kind of some in-between kind of to make it more of a whole. You know, it's not just a song and a song and a song. Sometimes there'll be these interludes that give it some texture. So I don't know if I would get horribly excited about there being 15 songs. But nonetheless, there are 15 tracks. And as a matter of fact, I have a clip, and I think we should play it. What do you think?
I agree.
All right. So this one is called Acolyte March. And, it is chunky. Chunky, chunky, chunky.
It sounds just like a Project 86 song, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's like what I expect when I plug in a Project album is exactly what I just heard in that song.
Exactly. So you can catch that full song on the Project 86 SoundCloud. It's not downloadable, but you can stream it. And, of course, the full album releases on November 4th, so just around the corner. And, yes, Polly will be getting him some tasty, tasty vinyl.
That's awesome. Good deal.
Yes, it is. And speaking of track listings, they've also released the track listing for the What Was Done Volume 1 by The Classic Crime. So now, in case you haven't quite understood what this album is, it's them going back and doing acoustic versions of some of their top songs of the past. And they did a Kickstarter for it, I believe. And it includes All the Memories, You and Me Both, Salt in the Snow, We All Look Elsewhere, Vagabonds, The Coldest Heart, My Name, Who Needs Air, Beautiful Dark Side, God, and Drugs, not to be confused with God on Drugs.
Right.
Headlights, The Fight, Selfish, and Where Did You Go? Now, both of those the next to last one, Selfish, is actually a live in studio. Now, this does weird me out, though, because I thought they were all going to be acoustic, but some of them are labeled as acoustic, and some of them are just called Revisited. So I'm curious to see if some of them are just done differently and not necessarily acoustic.
Gotcha. I don't know. That may be. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see.
I know, but I don't like waiting.
I know. Some of the
I want to know now.
some of those songs that you listed, though, I'm excited to see what the reimagining may be.
No kidding.
You know,
no kidding.
Be interesting to see how that all pans out.
Right. Also, since we talked a little bit about touring, this one's really brief, but excited for Southbound Fearing. They're going to be hitting the road with Saliva. And if you don't remember Saliva, if you were listening to mainstream rock in the early 2000s, they had the big hit Click Click Boom that was in a bunch of like soundtracks and whatnot. And they went on to do other things, but that was really kind of their big one. So they're going to be doing a lot of dates around Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Louisiana, and Texas. So that's
Cool.
kind of cool.
Awesome. Awesome.
Sweet deal. Well, do you want to do something else and then come back to more news? Because I got more, but I don't want it to just be like, this is happening and this is happening.
Well, we could either do the noise trade or we could do the stew. Just kind of mix things up a little bit.
Sure, let's go ahead and do the stew.
Let's do the stew.
The Rock in a Hard Place podcast presents
The one and the only.
All right, boys and girls, get ready for
The Stew.
Yay, the stew! Well, this week is a little bit different, much like last week, in that there are 3 movie clips.
Except
Although
there
one-
was no last week.
Oh, well, last week. The last time we did the stew. Thanks for that, Chris. That was lovely. Thank you. Yes, I wasn't here either, so... Anyway. See, now I can actually say that in the near future, I can actually smack you upside the back of the head because I'll actually see you in person, and that'll be
Yeah,
fun.
exactly. That's going to be interesting. We're going to have an episode where Paul and I will be in the same room, believe it or not.
This has never happened.
It has not.
At least for the podcast. I mean, I've been like a guest at Broken FM, and that was fun.
Yes.
But as far as actually doing the podcast in the same room, this is such a weird concept to us.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very strange, but we'll make it work. It'll all be good, I think.
It'll be even better because whenever one of us, starts talking smack about the other, we can actually smack.
Yes, yes, that's exactly right.
There'll be a lot of, ow, stop touching me.
No, Paul, you can't put your hand on my knee.
It's like, we'll be calling your wife, be like, Sarah,
That's
he's on my side of the room.
Oh, my goodness. That's funny.
Anyway, okay, so there's 3 movie clips, much like week before last, the last time we did the stew. And then there are 3 songs, and Chris's favorite theme of all. They all came out in the same year.
Oh, my gosh. Dude, you kill me with those.
Well, I honestly think this one's going to be kind of easy.
All right.
If I had to guess, I'm thinking it's going to be kind of easy. I think it plays to your strengths.
See, of course it's easy because you put it together.
Man, it is going to be on when we get there. When we're in the same room, I'm going to just whack you. I'm going to just like use them, grab a couple of mice, tie them together, use them as nunchucks.
Well, you're going to have to put all this together before you get here.
I know.
You're going to have some work to do, my friend. All right, here we are. Episode 27, actually. Can you believe we've done 27 of these?
I know. It's a little ridiculous. I'm wondering how much longer this can last.
Yeah, I'm wondering that myself. We need to come up with a new segment, maybe.
Yeah.
Something that tortures Paul.
Yeah.
All right, here is episode 27 of The Stew.
We're looking only for love. We've come to hear a message. Let the word bring down from above.
Want to blow up a bullfrog? Okay.
Surrounding me, what was they wearing? Bikinis. And when I woke up, man, you should have seen me in a cold sweat, feeling super funny. First thing wanna do is go rush the honey, man. That jerk is poison.
I will hunt down the alleged arachnid and spread some to kingdom come.
We just a touch your power, set it free. I'm free.
Rock and roll.
There you go.
Wow.
And once again, folks, in case you missed it earlier, these all came out in the same year.
Okay.
And I will say this. There was a lot of really terrible music that came out this year. Not necessarily the stuff that I pulled clips from. I like
Right.
most of the stuff that I pulled clips from. But
Right.
as far as just in general, I was weeding through it. I'm like, man, that all. Oh.
Okay, so is track 1 White Heart?
Yes, it is.
Is the song Convertibles?
Oh, no.
No.
No. We did convertibles once already. I try not to revisit songs if at all possible, but
All
no, it's
right.
not convertible.
Well, track 2 was SFC with Idiot Box.
That's right. I had to go online and find that song.
Oh, I could have sent you the album.
Well, yeah, but then that would have been kind of a tip-off then, wouldn't it?
Not
hey,
necessarily.
I'm working on the stew. Can
no,
send me
you
the
wouldn't have had to say
FS?
that. You would have just said, "Hey, do you happen to have any SFC?"
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you catch that one of the guys from SFC was one of the people who weighed in on Lecrae doing so well?
No.
Yeah, he did that in conjunction with the fact that they finally released the SFC archive or what albums or whatever to, I think, digital format for the first time.
Huh.
So thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had no idea. Very cool.
Yeah.
And track 3 sounds like Guardian,
Okay.
but I'm not sure what song.
Oh, okay.
But my guess is it's off of like Miracle Mile.
No.
Well, I'm batting 1,000 so far. The movie was Arachnophobia,
Yes, it was.
which has been forever. I was thinking of that movie the other day. I'm like, man, I haven't seen that movie in I don't know how long. I think I've only seen it once.
Oh, I got a funny story to tell you about that. I think it was a Christian comedian by the name of maybe Billy Smiley.
Yeah.
Came to a leadership camp I went to one
I think
year.
it's Brent Smiley.
Is it Brent? Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Is it kind of blonde hair,
Yep.
kind of goofy? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe Brent. Okay. Anyway, so he came there and he was like, when I was in high school, it was kind of sad because there were two groups of girls, and if you wanted to date a girl, they always fell in these two groups of girls. There were the goths and the cheerleaders. For some reason, we didn't have anything else but goths and cheerleaders. And he goes, so finally, I was able to get a date with one of the cheerleaders. I was walking on cloud 9. We went to go see Arachnophobia, and I knew that it wasn't going to work out when she leaned over and says, "This movie's so fake. I can totally see the strings." To which he just slowly turned and looked at her and said, "Uh-huh."
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Okay, so yeah, it's Bob Smiley.
Bob Smiley. There we go. Yeah, Bob Smiley.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yes, the last Guardian song is actually Power of Love.
Okay. And what was the Whiteheart song?
Powerhouse.
Powerhouse. All right. I gotcha. Okay, now the year.
All right.
92.
Pretty close, but no.
Okay. 94.
You're getting colder.
91.
Warmer.
90.
There you go. 1990, the same year as the self-titled album by DC Talks, Such Gold.
That's the year I graduated high school.
Aha, and then 10 years later, I graduated high school.
Oh, thanks. Let's rub a little salt in that wound.
Here, since I made you feel old, I'll tell you a story that made me feel really old. On this last school trip that I took to do a school presentation, I usually end up with either a staff member or a student coming and helping me set up, right?
Okay.
And so I have a couple of high school kids, and they're helping me set up. And we got set up, and they still had like 10 minutes before their next period started. So they were just sitting around, and I just put on some music. Put on some dubstep or whatever. It just happened to be whatever was queued up to play. And I'm playing it, and it's going through the big speakers and everything. And there's one of them kind of bobbing his head a little bit, and then one of them looks over at me and goes, "Hey, do you actually like this?" I was like, "Yeah, I like this. Why? Do you not like dubstep?" He goes, "Oh, no, it's not that." And I was like, "Oh, you think I'm too old to like dubstep, don't you?" And he goes, I didn't say that. I'm like, "Oh, yes, you did."
You said it with your eyes.
Right. And your lack of answer.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
I was like, "Forget you, man. I like dubstep before you did."
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, that's funny. All right. What else we got there, Paulie?
Well, speaking of remixy kind of things, Tooth and Nail is launching an Amberlin remix contest. So that's kind of cool.
So is this a contest where people get access to the song parts and they get to rearrange them?
I do believe so. It's through a website called Indaloop or Indie Loop, but
Okay.
it's INDI.
It's like in the loop, but with the D. In the loop.
Yeah, but with the DI. INDI loop.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, so I'm guessing that you can. I haven't gone through the process of signing up because you have to sign up for an account with this website. I'm sure it's free,
Right.
But if you want to get that, and but if you win, you get like I think VIP tickets to go to their November 16th show in New York, which is pretty cool.
Oh, so
And
you get
also,
the tickets. Do they pay for your airfare to get there?
I'm guessing not because they
Yeah.
didn't say they did.
Exactly. So, yay, I won VIP tickets to go see Amberlin in New York, and I got to mortgage my house to buy the tickets.
Yeah. But you also get autographed merch pack. So, So anyway, there is that. Now, this I was very excited about, but I'm kind of worried about it at the same time. Not because I doubt the product, but I doubt that they're really doing as much as they should be to make it happen. Grits back together, working on a new record. They're getting back in kind of the production team and guest vocalists and whatnot that they had that did probably their two most, critically acclaimed records.
Okay.
And the problem is that they're doing a Kickstarter for it and it's not doing well. So, and part of it, I don't think they're pumping it quite enough. But just to give you an idea, I think the Kickstarter has been going for about 4 or 5 days. They've only got $490.
Wow.
17 backers. They're trying to get to 25 grand. So they're not even going for a huge amount.
Yeah.
But they did a video for it. The video is uncut. It's just the two of them just kind of standing in a very loud room and telling you what they're going to do, which is great. But I don't know. I think they need some help in the social media direction because it feels like they assume that this video and then popping out a tweet or a Facebook message maybe once every couple of days is going to get it done, and I don't.
There
think
is a production quality that needs to be taken into consideration when doing a crowdfunding campaign because people are not going to want to give you money if the video that you've produced is crap. It's a representation of who you are as a band.
Right.
So, unfortunately for Grits, if they continue to utilize that video, I see it as being not a good thing, ultimately.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, they've got some ground to make up on that. I mean, they have plenty of time, but yeah, they need to get up on that and do some work.
Yeah.
Because as of now, then it's not doing so well. So anyway, I hope they do well. I'm a big fan of Grits. Now is the time. I mean, Christian hip hop is a big deal again, but unfortunately, I think most of the people who know who Andy Mineo is and Lecrae is and KB and all that have forgotten who Grits is.
Right.
So they really need to do some major work to pick up some ground. I mean, what would be awesome is if they could open up a few shows for Lecrae or Andy Mineo and talk about the fact that they're doing new stuff.
Right.
And that would be the way to go.
Right.
So
I
anyway.
agree.
We'll see how that goes.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I liked Grits.
Yeah.
I mean, the band, not the food.
Right. Yeah. Ugh. I don't like the food either. Ugh.
Sorry, all you Southerners out there. Not a big Grits fan.
I'm from the South too. And
Yeah. So
none of that nastiness. Anyway, also speaking of new music, Jason Dunn launching pre-order for his next album, which is The Grand Adventures of Hank Nielsen.
Okay.
Not Hawk Nelson.
Right.
Hank Nielsen.
Hank Nielsen.
And have you seen the cover of this yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it is so great.
I'm going to have to go look it up, aren't I?
Yes, you probably will. I mean, is there a way for me to drop you a picture over Skype?
You can, yeah. You can drop it in the chat.
I'm going to see if I can do that. Let me see if I can do this for you.
Can try to.
Oh no, it's not happening. Okay, never mind. I'll send it to you later. But anyway, it's pretty funny. It's him in a cowboy hat and like a Lone Ranger mask, and it's all westerny and whatnot. So.
Interesting.
Which apparently, according to our interview that we did, the last song, which is "Tu eres el amor de mi vida," is a song that's all in Spanish that he co-wrote with his wife.
Is his wife Spanish?
No, she just knows just enough Spanish to be able to help him write the song.
Okay.
He said a good chunk of the song was written by saying, "Okay, I want something that says something like this. Google Translate.
Yeah.
Translate this phrase to Spanish." which apparently was inspired by a recent trip they took like to Puerto Vallarta or something like several months back. And he was like, they were just tuning through the radio. And I was like, man, a lot of this stuff is really good. I need to do a Spanish song.
Wow.
Anyway,
I know,
that's all I got wise, but I think that's hilarious.
John Schlitt and the guys in Guardian, they do all of their stuff. They actually re-record their songs all in Spanish and like sell Spanish albums and things like that. It's quite a tremendous undertaking, but it's what they want to do in order to reach that crowd. So more power to them in that regard.
Yeah.
That's more Spanish than I know. I can count poorly in Spanish. That's I tell everybody that I'm a bilingual illiterate. I have a hard enough time grasping the English language to try and tack on something else. So,
this is true.
Oh man. Well, Paul, what are your noise trade picks as we head towards the final mile?
All right. Well, yes, Kirk. Heath McNeese is one of my noise trade picks because I'm a big fan of his. I will forward this by saying I'm not as much of a fan of this style of Heath McNeese as I am of his hip hop style, but he does both very well. This just doesn't connect with me as much, but that's not a bad thing, I don't think. So he's just released a new short film, which I think is 40 minutes long. You can watch it on YouTube, and the soundtrack for it is up on, yeah, you guessed it, noisetrade.com. And there are also some Noise Trade exclusive songs that are on there that are like acoustic versions of other songs. Now, I will also say that it's kind of funny because most of these songs are either acoustic or they wouldn't change, I don't think, that much by being acoustic. Imagine they just sound a little more stripped down. But here's a clip from this soundtrack. The song is called Why I Feel. Or just Why Feel. Why Feel? I don't know. So here we go. Tell me what you guys think.
Cause my strength comes from hills I have not seen. My fears come from things I can't unsee.
So kind of a weird, folksy kind of a sound. The movie and the soundtrack are called Fort Wayne, and there's 17 tracks on the soundtrack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are exclusive to Noise Trade itself. I think you can get them through other places, but in the past, his Weight of Glory Second Edition, which was hip hop inspired reversions of other songs from Weight of Glory, which is a book. Is a CD based on the works of C.S. Lewis. I don't know. It's kind of convoluted to try to explain it, but it was named like a standout album of the year for 2013 by Derek Webb, who of course started noisetrade.com. So it's interesting to listen to. It'll be fun, especially if you're into kind of the folk and dreamy kind of stuff that he's doing there. And then I have not watched the film yet. I've seen a clip from it, and it was very different. Okay. But I don't know really what to expect from the film. I know that it's kind of about him touring around, but it's more than that. I think it's kind of a scripted pseudo-reality show, but it's not meant to be really funny. It's meant to be kind of a look inside his head. I don't know. Like I said, it's a very strange the way it was explained to me. So I'm looking forward to trying to watch this over the next week, and I'll let you guys know hopefully next week what the film is like. And in the meantime, you can check it out on YouTube.
Cool.
So there's that. The other Noise Trade pick for the week is a single that was dropped, and it was by an artist that I had never heard of, but he has a guest vocalist who is somebody that I have heard of. The main artist, his name is Sam Stan, and the guest vocalist is Marty from the group Social Club, who is very quickly turning into another one of those Andy Mineo Lecrae's, an artist who is making big waves very quickly in Christian hip hop, and I think it's really good. The song does feature a good bit of sampling from an old 50s classic. You guys I'm trying to remember this part of the clip. It may not showcase it as much, but if you guys download the whole thing, you'll get it. But anyway, the song is called Happy Camper, and yeah, it's hip hop. Hope you guys like it.
Camper, I'ma be a happy camper. I'ma be a happy camper. I'ma be. Alright.
Okay, I'm sorta like a OG, mixed with an emoji, and I'm on that veggie burger status. Boy, I don't want no beef. Really love my homies, that's for those who do not know me. And I want my dreams in real life. Really, I don't get no sleep. If I'm in the zone, then I'm wide awake. If there's a will, then I find a way. When the light is dim, my brightest day, sip ginger ale. That's finer things.
So there you go. That is actually Sam Stan. He's not only the main artist, but the one who you just heard there. And then, of course, the opening verse is by Marty from Social Club. It's very different, but I like it.
Cool.
And I'm curious to see what else he puts out. And hopefully it'll be something that I can grab as well. But you need to check that out. And this is not a Noise Trade pick, but this is something that you can check out on SoundCloud. This is a song that I've been waiting for over a decade because it is the first single released off of the next Steve Taylor project. So, being as though Steve, of course, told us that the only thing that matters to him now is whether or not Chris Cooner likes the new album.
Right.
We're going to play this song and see what Chris thinks. Because I like it. I'm sold.
Okay.
But it's very different. It has kind of an indie rock flavor to it, much akin to like maybe the Black Keys or Arcade Fire or something like that. And let's see what Chris thinks. Here we go. All
But I'm not being forced. Only right, only right. It's only right. What you need and only right, only right. It's only right. Why am I being only right, only right. It's only right. Can't you see love? Only right. It's only right. It's only right. Where did my head go?
Well, does it pass muster?
It's terrible.
Uh-huh.
No. No, it's fine. It kind of, to me, it has a little Alice Cooper flavor to it in the vocal.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
The mix style isn't my favorite, just the way it sounds like it's in a big room with only like 2 mics recording stuff. It's just got that, I don't know,
Very
that
stripped down
open
sound.
and that real airy kind of sound. So I mean, that's not one of my favorite styles, but
Right.
what I heard is not bad.
Okay, cool.
So
All right.
Does that sell me on the album? Not yet. I
Okay.
want to get a copy of the album and hear the whole thing.
Okay.
And I'm talking put on my customs and absorb what it is, and then
right.
and then I'll do then I'll talk about it and I'll let you know, and then you can let Steve know. And actually, I'm going to see him in a couple weeks. He's going to be in town for Rock of Ages.
That's right. That's right.
So he's going to be in Calistoga. So I don't know. I need you to put a word in to see if I can't get to meet him.
Yeah.
Because they won't let us backstage. They won't give us backstage passes. That's not because if they give them to us, then they got to give them to all the radio stations according to what they say. So I need him to be willing to pop out and maybe find a place to meet outside of that.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that that's something that is doable. So I'll send him a text and see what he says.
I mean, you're free to give him my info if you want to, so that he can contact me directly. You can play intermediary too, and I'm fine with that either way.
Okay. All right.
So there you go. But yes, in 2 weeks? No, next week. It's it's next week, right? I'm so confused now. Let me see here. It is October the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's next week.
It's like a week from...
It's a week from today.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, I won't be here next week to record another episode. So I'm very busy.
Tom,
are you free next weekend, next Saturday, to help Paul out a little bit?
Now, here's what I find funny about the way that they're marketing this. They're marketing it as Steve Taylor and the Perfect Foil, the debut album.
Well, it is the debut album for Steve Taylor and the Perfect Foil, right?
I know.
So
but it's just interesting that they would choose to word it that way. Because,
well, I mean, if it were just Steve Taylor and he was doing the Steve Taylor band type thing, did his band have a name when he was doing solo stuff?
Some band.
Steve Taylor and some band.
Yes. It had like kind of a revolving membership, though. I mean, it wasn't like a hard, fast group, but that was the name of his backup band.
Well, it's kind of like Rich Mullins and the Ragamuffin Band.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that kind of that kind of idea.
It is true. But the debut album is called Goliath. It drops on November 18th.
Awesome.
Counting the days.
I bet. I'm sure we'll try and see if we can't snag him for a broken record too.
Oh yeah.
So,
as well you should.
Yes. Yeah, I think we have an in somewhere that I might be able to pull that off.
Yeah, you'll have to share that with me.
Tom says, "Let me check with my people." Person.
Yeah.
Come on, Tom. You can have your people clear your schedule, Kirk says.
Right.
So, good deal. Well, I think that's going to do it for us for this episode. Yeah. Sorry we couldn't do it last week, but thanks for your patience and hanging with us. And we got a nice full chat room, 5 people hanging out with us today, and we're appreciative of that. So if you are looking to get a hold of us, there's lots of ways to do it. You can hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/rockatahardplacepodcast. You can check out our website, rockatahardplacepodcast.com. That's got all the links to everything as far as where to download the episodes, where to watch the live stream, doing all of that kind of stuff. So you can just go to rockatahardplacepodcast.com and check all of that goodness out. The podcast is available in lots of different places. So you're not just stuck with iTunes if that's not your bag, baby.
Yeah.
So I think that's everything. So I guess I'll just say I'm Chris Cooner.
And I'm Paul Gibson.
And we will see you next week.
Yeah.